seven, seven.
当然手を吐く大怪獣ウルトラビームでストライク
Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 35. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Razen.
I can't. What a weird way to be half right.
Coming up, we've got Belma Dan, we've got double identity problems, and we've got crucifix. The crucifix is here. All that coming up on Ultraseven. Before we get into that, quick check-in. I promise this is the last time until I fall down a hole again. I have to complete the trilogy of the 40k thing, because I finished the second book, and I said last week, it was pretty good. I was like surprised. I was like, damn, all right, let's go straight into this third book, chapter 1. It's over. It's fucking over.
Oh no! As soon as chapter 1.
It's written so fucking bad. I was just I'm not like equipped to. I'm not like a literary critic. I'm not equipped to tell you what's wrong with it. But just like read one page and just go, oh fuck, this is bad. Fuck. Awarida. Otherwise, I've been. So first of all, last week, Razen did a thing, and got some people making lists, 5x5 lists of their backlog that they're gonna address in 2024 to play bingo with.
That took off way more than I thought it would ever be real.
Yeah.
People are still spending me shit.
I made my 5x5.
I did too.
And I've already started because I played Obra Dinn, Return of the Obra Dinn.
Ooh, okay.
That game's fucking great.
Everyone I know has loved that game. I still need to play it. I need to make sure I have the right game. This is the like pixelated-y, like ship murder mystery thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, the premise of the game is you have to you're an agent of the East India Company sent to investigate why. Listen, this game is good. It's good. There's some deliberate race and like Orientalism stuff going on in here, as well as some like traditional sort of like pulpy type fiction Orientalism as well, but they lean into it in a way that's kind of deliberate. Anyway, the premise of the game is you are tasked with going around the Obra Dinn, which is a ghost ship that has arrived that is, no one's alive on it anymore. And you have to figure out what happened to all 60 members of the crew, including passengers. Like individually, you have to list their fate, and you have like a number of options available to you. There's some great ones, but it's fantastic. The thing about I like fiction about like falling kings. And a ship at sea is a kingdom, and its captain is its king. And the Obra Dinn,
I'll allow you this.
God damn. It's fantastic. The one complaint I had was I got like halfway into the game and I realized, because they have like this, all the options that you can pick from to identify bodies and people, there is, because they're all in categories, they're all, you know, there are officers, there are top men who are the people in the rigging, there are seamen, who are just standard, the standard crew, there's passengers, and what I hadn't realized was that the option to select unknown top man or unknown passenger, etc., were not unknown people that I had to identify. That was literally like a label to help me to use, so I could use it to narrow down what people were. I did not realize that until well past it was useful, and so I just had to manage on my own. But that's like one little problem amongst. The other thing is, it does become kind of cleanup in terms of like the leftovers, trying to wrap it up. But I think it's good. I think it's a very good mystery game. Just like dozens of mysteries upon mysteries, building into, I think, is a pretty good story about a ship what fucked up and made some really bad mistakes. And then tried to fix those mistakes in the worst ways possible. But yeah, otherwise I haven't been up to much. I've been watching movies, but that's still up in the air. So yeah, not talking about them. Yeah, that's kind of me.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
I can transition because I have a thing. I walked into, like, literally a day or two after I made my list and made that video or whatever, I walked into a used game shop and they like just had on one of their like display racks of like, oh, current deals we have, like they had a discount copy of Ridge Racer R4, which was on my list. And I was like, oh, I was gonna play the like the newer like PS4, PS5 like classics re-release they did for this, but fuck it, I'll buy a disc of this. So I bought that. So that was fun. But I would say two major things, one of which I don't know if I'll talk about, but I'll decide if I'm talking about it in the build-up. Because the first major thing I did was my friend Liz, who has been running my Pathfinder Kingmaker game, the tabletop version, not the video game, decided to do a run of Monster of the Week for the month of October, which is a
monster every week.
Yes,
Whoa.
a new monster every week. And this time around we did. Well, sorry. First of all, I guess I should explain. It's a Powered by the Apocalypse game, which is a system that started with a game called Apocalypse World. You may also be familiar with it because of a game that took off called Dungeon World, which is unfortunately made by a creep. So, good game, but I do not play it anymore. Yeah. And it kind of set the tone for what a lot of indie narrative-based tabletop RPG design would look like for the 2010s. In my opinion, I've kind of moved on to Forged in the Dark because it's kind of doing that with also a hint of, like, having a greater sense of world and factionalism in a way that just like scratches my brain right. But it was nice to go back and revisit PBTA and just be like, oh yeah, there's a reason this took off. It's just a nice and fast and loose system of play that makes it really easy to just kind of make a story with people and describe what your characters are doing, and then when you need to decide something as like a point of narrative tension, be like, okay, this move, as they're called, applies, and we're gonna roll to see what the outcome is narratively for that. I was playing with a bunch of strangers who I've not met before, but it was like a friend to friend sort of situation. I made my guy just a pastiche of John Constantine because I was like, fuck it, how many chances am I to play a supernatural based occult detective-y style thing? And in true Constantine fashion, I solved the problem, but also made a lot more problems in its stead. And because of real life stuff going on, this actually was going to be the only session I could participate in. So I kind of showed up, ruined everything, but helped out. And then I was like, okay, I'm leaving town by. And that was very satisfying, and everyone had a good kick out of it. So good time. I got what I needed out of it. Sometimes all you need is one session. The other thing, I guess I'm not really going to talk about this. There's this new stupid fruit stacking game that, for some reason, everyone loves and adores. It's really fun. I can't stop playing it. It's called Suika Game. It's Suika, I believe. You can just play it in web browser. There's also a much better version on Switch, but you need to, like, import it through the Japanese eShop. Let me tell you, stacking that fruit is really fun. That's all I really have to say about it.
Yeah, out here stacking fruit.
We are stacking fruit. It's like, okay, so you start with these tiny fruit, right? You got these cherries or strawberries, and then when two fruits of the same type touch, that sounds really weird out of context. You combine them into bigger fruit. And
yeah, 2048.
Yes, it's just 2048, but with fruit, and they're more bubbly. And they keep combining until they get to a watermelon-esque stage. I don't know what happens when two watermelons touch. I've still yet to be good enough to get to that part of the operation.
I did see someone say they excised all their desire to play it just by looking up what happens and watching it.
I see.
And they were just like, that's it, I'm done. I got everything I need.
I think that is an extremely valid way to interact with this game. I think I might go sicko enough and see if I can get to what happens. Apparently the community has decided that when you get to a score of 3,000, that's when you're done. I've only managed to get to 1,500. But yeah.
I think if you want to see melons touch, there are sites for that.
Listen, I could do it myself. This whole conversation is cursed.
Well, that's Suika.
Fruit stacking game fun. Scratch primal itch to see number go big and things go pop in puzzle game.
I realized I lied. I do have one other thing. Which is that I played I started a very long franchise, and I learned that the first game is nothing like the rest of them. I played the first Touhou game.
Yeah, that one's a bit different. Just a bit.
It's like.
Do you like Arkanoid?
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's like
I never knew this.
Turning over, you bouncing a ball and the yin yang ball and turning over tiles, and it's a bit of a bitch, but I'm not very good at it, but it gives you free continues, I quote unquote beat it. I got a bad end because obviously I didn't get a high score. I suspect is the problem.
There's probably I know some later games don't give you a good ending if you use a continue.
Yeah.
You gotta get that 1 CC.
Listen. I'm not doing that for that game.
I don't think you have permission to not get a 1 CC for 1 to 5, probably.
Okay, that's fair. I started playing 2, I started playing 2. That was immediately. I was just like, oh yeah, I recognize this. This is a shmup. And I was having a great time. It's a good game. IMO. That's it. It's just a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
Eventually, I know there's lore.
Yeah, eventually you get to the games that are actually referenced in canon. Because
that's like 6 onwards or something.
Yeah, because there's like a bit of a gap between the games on PC98 and the games on Windows.
Yeah, there's like 6 onwards, but only 9 onwards are on Steam. I think. So, Your Honor, I will simply be playing 6 through 8, however I can.
7 and 8 are really good and good beginner shmups.
Okay.
8 was my first shmup.
Looks like 2 is my first shmup. Which sounds like maybe not the best idea, but I'm doing all right. That's it.
Listen, the beautiful thing with shmups is you can just move. I did that recently with I was like dead set on a childhood favorite of mine, Raiden, being my first 1cc. And then I just gave up, and I looked online, just saw a bunch of people being like, yeah, that game's bullshit, and it's old, and it was meant to, like, steal your quarters at arcades. Just play something that's, like, more manageable for your first 1cc. I was like, that's a good idea.
Also, Raiden 1 doesn't have the toothpaste laser like Raiden 2.
No.
RIP.
That game is also apparently, I never knew this, that game is easier if you play on the player 2 side, because the red ship is faster moving left to right, like left, right, up, and down, and then the blue ship is faster moving diagonal, and I don't know why you'd make your video game like that, but sure.
There's just the era where stuff like that happens. It's so goofy.
It's like older fighting games with different player advantages.
Melt Your Blood, Type Lumina, and Mortal Kombat 1 stares at the camera. Why does this keep happening?
Games are hard. Games are hard to make. What's the Type Lumina one?
My main boy, Mario, some of his shit just doesn't work depending on which corner you're trying to combo in.
It's really funny.
I learned this while I was playing him in tournament, and someone was like, yeah, it's a shame about your guy. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't know? And I was like, no. He's like, yeah, some of his shit just doesn't work depending on what corner you're in. They haven't fixed it yet. And I was like, oh, awesome. Okay.
That's your punishment for playing that little freak.
Listen, I love him so much. He's a degenerate.
All right, well, Mel.
I gotta be honest, I don't have much this week. I started some games, but I'm not far into them. A couple games for podcasting reasons. One for just want to get in the series reasons. Still very early on. I will say one of them is for this month's abnormal mapping, so hey, there you go.
Okay.
So we'll get to that. But yeah, didn't actually have anything finished I could talk about, really.
You're chilling.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. We should be chilling. No, sometimes we gotta chill.
I am actually chilling because yesterday I went outside to go get groceries and I went, oh shit, fall is here. And it was like 50 degrees out hold on. I just realized I made a mistake. 50 degrees F to C. It was 10 degrees Celsius. And I was like, oh shit, it just went from summer to fall. And then I went back and I put on jeans and a hoodie. And I was like, hell yeah, it's cozy clothes weather. Let's go. I'm all my family is like very, very Scottish. So as we transition into the lower temperatures, I'm like going sicko mode. I'm like, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. All right.
I'll see.
What was it?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'll see how long I can make the shorts last.
Yeah.
I think it's like 14 degrees right now. Oh, it's 7 outside. Well, I'm not doing that.
Speaking of
Oh.
7,
Health. Oh my god. Perfect. Speaking of 7, let me tell you. Let's talk about Ultraseven. Let me tell you about. Oh fuck! I haven't done my job. What's the episode title for episode 37?
episode 37, The Stolen Ultra Eye.
The Stolen Ultra Eye. Thank you. In episode 37, a woman going by the alias Maya arrives on Earth by spaceship, knocks out Dan, and steals his glasses. The Ultra Guard begins the hunt for this alien infiltrator and pick up a signal. Mission accomplished. Come pick me up. They track the signal to a club. Dan is going in like plainclothes mode, undercover cop. What's the American undercover cop thing? Was it Yankees cap or something? He spots Maya. He uses telepathy to communicate with her and demands to know who she is working for and why they want to invade Earth. She's like, invade? Lol. Wow. And then something happens with the power and it becomes like clear the signal is coming from one of the amps for the band that's playing. It's like a rhythm that's disguised in the beat. Maya flees the scene as the Ultra Guard initiate a raid. They pick up the amp and head back to base. They investigate the amp and find the signal being transmitted, and while they have the machine, it receives a response. Interplanetary ballistic missile on its way. No time to pick you up. Sorry, rip. Hit Earth in a few hours, and the Ultra Guard launches into space with the Ultra Hawks, but without Dan, who knows humanity's best shot is Ultraseven and has snuck off to the club.
Oh, one point of clarification.
Yeah.
Dan was supposed to come, but he just bailed.
Yes. Yes. The captain is like waiting for him in the spaceship, and Anne shows up instead, like, I don't know where Dan is. Let's just go. At the club, Dan gets ambushed by a bunch of people doing I Am Spartacus. They're all wearing fake Ultra Eyes. And he wakes up. When he wakes up, he is confronted by Maya. He tells her that her people have abandoned her, passing her the message received by the amp. She reluctantly gives Dan the Ultra Eyes, and he heads to space to divert the missile. While Ultraseven saves the day, Maya hits like J4 on the jukebox, which activates a mist that vaporizes her. Dan returns to find nothing left of her, but whatever is left, it's like a device. Dan laments the fact he could not persuade her to try living on Earth among humans. She did not have to die. She could have been happy even, just like him. The end.
This is my favorite episode of the show.
This
episode is so good. It's so good. First of all, the atmosphere in this episode is fantastic. It is just well directed and very tense at all times. I think they sell the. There is probably a more famous episode that we're going to talk about that maybe doesn't sell the tension of the countdown quite as well as this episode does. Yeah, I think Maya's little story is good. I think it's an effective little tragedy.
Yeah, it also when they cut to the crowd shot at the end when Dan's talking about like, damn, she didn't even care enough to try to live and become one with this planet like I have, and it's just shot in a way that makes it just feel more like I guess like nonfiction, like documentarian style of just like there's just a bunch of people out and about like going about their lives on the street, and just Dan in his uniform is out in the middle of it. And it's really affecting. I don't know. I adored everything about this. And you may have noticed, viewer at home, Red said nothing about a kaiju. There is no fucking, like, huge fuck-off fight this episode.
It's just a missile. It's a giant missile. It's a very silly missile. It's great.
Yes.
I love it. It's also, it's technically there is an alien in this episode, but, like, no suit.
There was, like, no design to discuss.
Apparently, it's just, like, no budget, so they just didn't have an alien.
This is an ongoing theme. When they have no budget, they make great episodes of TV.
Sometimes constraints are good.
Yeah, Hajime.
honestly, actually, it's impressive that this episode has no budget because I'm not. Is that club real then?
I think
That's
I because it's just like maybe not this episode specifically, but more like just the show in general.
Oh yeah. That's fair. That's fair because that was like a. They didn't have to put as much effort into that club as they did. It's very thorough.
It was weird having like Dan alone in the civilian uniform, and then the Ultra Guard just hovering around in their uniform.
Yeah, just I don't know if they went separately because Dan's after a different thing, or if he's like in there as like their, he says go and they go. I like it if it's the first one more. I think the like contradictory like aims of Dan and the Ultra, the separation between him and the rest of the Ultra Guards very apparent this episode. It's yeah.
Also, just like the actress playing Maya really kills it. I think like when she receives the news that her people have forsaken her for the sake of their mission to eradicate the Earth, she really sells the tragedy of that moment, and just reluctantly giving Dan the Ultra Eyes back is just fantastically done.
So there's an interesting choice at the end here, and I don't know if it's made just because it's possible that they made this choice just because they have to kill the alien. They have to kill the enemy before the end of the episode. Which is possible. It's entirely possible. But whatever go ahead.
It is worth noting that the Pegasa lived.
Pegasa did live. Like they don't have to do it. I guess.
So I wonder if it's just like a choice to make the ending more interesting.
Mm-hmm. In which case, yes. It's whatever the reason for the decision. I think her giving up on the mission, but still choosing to die instead, I think is a very interesting choice. It's like nowhere near as clear cut as it could be for like this type of just show for children.
Admittedly, this is the part of the show where more adults are tuning in, and the writers know that, even though it's still ostensibly a kids show.
Okay, that's good to know.
I was gonna note because I think we've discussed we don't know for sure if the 13 episode batch thing is still a thing here, right? But
I mean, in my production history, I was like on the impression it was.
If that's the case, this is the first batch of the this is the first episode of the third batch then.
Wouldn't we have passed it? Or
well, it's 37, so it'd be 13, 13, then 37 would be the start of third batch, right? Wait, no, I'm stupid. I can't count. Never mind.
What was that, Matt?
Oh no, I said that with so much confidence too.
Oh, that's staying
no.
in. That's staying in so hard. I'm gonna play it again right here.
Well, it's 37, so it'd be 13, 13, then 37 would be the start of third batch, right? Wait, no, it's Jover.
Joe Warida.
Joe Warida.
I think it was just like how similar to Ultraman, they got 13, 13, 13, and then after like the first 5 episodes, it was doing gangbusters, so they got an extra 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So I guess I guess it doesn't map on neatly, because then the numbers would be that like the 2-parter bridges the last 13 in the first, and then the last 10. But
right,
whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's some
like episode moving around there. So yeah, the giant missile, which like plows through a space station, is
V2
the closest to. Yeah. V2, not a missile, destroyed by a missile. The Ultra Guard like go out. This is like very somber stuff, because they can't, it's like everyone's kind of clued into the fact that they can't beat this, and they still go out to try.
They're about to get R1'd.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I just
And
think
Ultraseven just turns it around.
So does he? So is the implication that he's sending it back to that planet?
I was wondering that, and since they didn't say anything,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was gonna say I assume not, but then I thought about the history of this show and how it treats its aliens, and I was like, it might be
my
sent
thinking
it back.
was it spun like 180 degrees, and like my assumption was that like Maya chose to die in part because she knows her civilization is about to get retaliated back again.
Yeah. It's kind of a fucked up choice, Ultraseven. I wouldn't have done that.
I think this happened enough times in this podcast where an alien race has just been wiped out. I think we need a new segment.
Oh, this is the segment?
I'd like to introduce to you all
Ultraman
Genocide.
So I had to go back and think about how many times this has happened.
Thank you for that. That's fantastic. Yeah. How many times have we had genocide?
So we've had the Boltons.
Yeah,
Obviously.
famous.
I can't think of another one in Ultraman, so if there's another, correct me. I think we've had several.
If you remember a genocide that we don't, email in, please.
Yes.
We have Pegasa.
Mm-hmm.
We have Utom, the underground robot city.
Mm-hmm.
In the Dinn doppelganger episode.
Yep, that's 3.
We have Alien Zampa last week.
That's 4.
So this would be the 5th one.
Yeah. Damn, we're at 5. This is racking them up.
Personally, I would not make this a part of your franchise.
I'm just thinking about who's returning next in the next show, and I just know he's looking at those numbers. He's going, "Those are rookie numbers. We can pump those numbers." All right. Well, production notes. Who made this episode?
This blew my fucking mind. This is the same writer-director combo as that shitty-ass Moon episode we watched last batch. Toshitsugu Suzuki, and then written by Shinichi Ichikawa.
What happened was they had to make 2 episodes, and they were really pleased with that first episode. And then someone said, "You have to make a second, right?" And they both turned around and went, "What?" Oh fuck. That's hilarious. Good for them. They pulled it back. Fantastic episode of Ultraseven. One of the best, I think.
This is extremely Ultra Q core, except for like the missile stuff right at the end being only achievable by super heroics. Like the vibe through and through is like, oh, this could have been right in line with the original show.
Mm-hmm. This is also like a demonstration of like a true demonstration of Touhou logic, which is like the like kind of the difference between a lot of sort of traditional superhero stuff and Touhou stuff is like it's like Dan turns into Ultraseven because he has a thing, and it's not like he's not like doing like incredible workouts. He doesn't have like it's not because of something special about him necessarily. It's that it is because he's from the land of light, but it's not something like fundamental to his character. It is he has the glasses and he can lose them. And that's good. It's good. It's a good source of drama.
Didn't
It's funny that-
the Handshakers people make a show about this recently?
Oh Jesus! Oh, the girl who lost her glasses.
Yeah, with the greatest whatever the fuck that hallway animation scene.
Oh yeah.
That's all I know about that
Truly.
show.
When animation is expensive, that means it's good.
True.
60 frames, baby.
Oh yeah.
It is funny how he had a couple of episodes where he lost the glasses early on. But this one actually was about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's lost his glasses before, but it's always been it's always been it's felt like padding. It's felt like delaying tactic. He needs to deploy Wyndham. In this episode, it's it's central. It's
the problem.
He's lost his fucking glasses.
It's even the title of the episode.
She beat Ultraseven.
Yeah.
It did not take it did not take an entire operation of planning. It did not require a crucifix either. All right, well, unless we have anything more about this episode, shall we move on?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Episode 38. I didn't.
The
I not-
Courageous
I didn't do it for
Battle.
any of them. The Courageous Battle. There we go. I didn't do it for any of them. All right. Episode 38, The Courageous Battle. Dan is having the traditional superhero problem. His two identities are caught between two conflicting responsibilities. As Dan, he meets a boy in hospital who is too afraid to go through with the experimental heart surgery he needs. Dan encourages him to trust that science is on his side, just like how he has to trust in the science of the Ultra Guard every day. The boy asks Dan to visit him again on the day of the surgery, and Dan promises he'll be there. As Ultraseven, Dan must combat a new alien menace, a robot that emits a camouflage mist and then shovels cars into its big garage door mouth. Ultraseven 2 for 2 on its incredible robot kaiju designs, or 3 for 3, I guess, if we count Wyndham. Dan knows this robot is sent by the alien Banda, which need fuel and scrap metal and steal them from other planets. And the rest of the Ultra Guard's like, how do you know that? And Dan's like, let's just do. The Ultra Guard set a trap on the day of the surgery. They've had the radio announce false traffic reports to lure the alien robot to eat a bunch of cars that have been packed with explosives that will go off when the robot returns to its mothership. Dan asks Anne to attend the surgery in his place, but when she arrives, the boy is pretty fucked up about the fact Dan didn't keep his promise. The Ultra Guard's plan mostly goes off without a hitch, destroying the alien mothership. Unfortunately, the giant robot survived the explosion and goes on a rampage through the city. Dan gets injured in the attack on the robot and is brought to the hospital where the surgery is taking place. In spite of his injuries, Dan manages to visit the boy just before anesthesia takes effect. With his promise kept and surgery underway, Dan heads to the roof and transforms into Ultraseven to defeat the giant robot, which he does. And then there's a happy ending with, the boy survives the surgery, everything's fine.
You forgot the most important part.
What's the most important part?
Dan can't beat the robot as big Ultraseven, so he turns small and lets himself be shot out of the gun.
I did forget that.
Yes. Out of what I'm pretty sure is the spider shot prop too, actually.
Oh, is it? Oh,
it's whatever the spider equivalent in the show is.
But yeah, he has to turn little, and he just is it Soga or Furuhashi fires the gun, and then is like, was that Ultra? Did I fire Ultraseven out of the gun? It was fantastic. Wide swing in complete opposite direction of tone from the last episode. This episode, nonetheless, I still think is very, very good, just in a completely different way.
Agreed. The one thing, and to be honest, this is a complaint that I still think kind of maybe endears me to the episode, I feel like the child character as written on the page was maybe meant to be played by what I can only assume was to be a slightly younger actor. I felt like this kid was maybe a little bit too old to be saying the dialogue that he was saying. But like, I mean, it still works, and you know, this is a thing you will always get with anyone under the age of like 20 on TV. I think is just it's hard to find actors in that range, so sometimes you got to make compromises. But
Sometimes your high school character is played by a 20-year-old.
yeah,
you know, the robot is so good. What do we know the name of this robot so I can look at images of it?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was named after the show, but it's called Crazy Gone.
Oh hell yeah!
when
Crazy Gone going crazy.
when Crazy Frog decides to make a video game news and review site.
Crazy Gun's just got like one big arm and legs. Like it's when it gets dropped onto Earth, it doesn't have legs initially. It's just this big like warehouse looking thing, and then it like ascends. Like the legs just kind of pop out from under it. This is a ridiculous robot.
Apparently, he was going to have 2 working arms, but they couldn't finish them both in time, so he just got the one.
I'm happy they couldn't. It's much more iconic with just the one.
I agree.
I just want to. I just noticed in the book, in the summary, it says Dan recognizes the robot as the work of the Bandas, a race of scavengers, and proposes luring it into a trap with phony traffic news. The booklet's take is always insightful.
This is just like incredible moment where Dan is like, oh yeah, this is the alien panda, and everyone's like, the what? And he like, there's like, what's that? How do you know about that? And he like turns and faces away from them all and goes, by chance.
Yeah.
While he's having like an internal monologue, he's like, I can't have an excuse right now. I can't be fucked.
I like the part where like Dan gets like owned and has to go to the hospital.
Yes.
But he's just like adamant both about doing his duty and also like disguising his injuries and not getting treated. Because he's like, well, no, I don't want him to think I'm in the hospital for my own reasons. I want him to think I kept the promise.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. Yeah. The you know, like last episode, purist of just toku drama of I don't have the belt, I don't have the thing that turns me into the superhero. And now we got like hidden identity, like double identity drama as like, but not in the like secrecy way, just like in terms of like responsibilities.
Too many promises.
Too many promises. Too many duties. And Dan struggling to fulfill both is good. Like, you know, I do sort of like fundamentally probably like appreciate the fiction like this that actually depicts like the failure. But you know, I do also like just playing it straight with you know, some, you know, it's good. He's a hero. He's the hero of the story, and he does both of them because he's the hero. Go Dan. But yeah, it's not like the ending of Spider-Man 2.
I did think it was interesting how Dan decides to motivate the child to like go through with it by using like the Ultra Guard's like dedication to like advancing science. I was like, okay, I think that's a very interesting angle to all this. And I can't remember what the line is because it's been like a week since I watched this, but there's a line right at the end about like the Ultra Guard fighting for science or humanity's belief in science that I can't quite remember, but I remember thinking like,
it's something along those lines. It's like it's very much playing on like this show is very, I guess, like since Ultraman, I guess since Ichi no Tani,
Yeah.
well, except that's different because he's fucked up and weird and doing like semi like occult shit sometimes, but the show is very much sort of like so kind of futurist about just the advancing technology will help humanity, believe in the advancements of science, and in the context of medical science, this is perfectly fine idea to be like in favor, but obviously there are other shows where I think about the War in the Pocket prosthetic guy, who's like, yeah, this technology exists because it was used for military purposes, but again, this is just kind of
Gunned arm.
gunned arm, absolutely.
And I'm glad we don't have to deal with a future where Ultraman is anti-vax.
Oh no.
No, here's the thing. Ultraseven is not anti-vax. Ultraman is absolutely anti-vax. Ultraman's like, you don't know who's giving you that. There are aliens in the government.
No.
That's what Ultraman is like.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for any seasoned Ultraman fan who comes to our podcast and hears our interpretation of the original.
I'm going a step further from the rest of the fandom who thinks the Ultraman is kind of psycho. I'm saying he comes up with anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
No. What? No.
For some reason. I don't know why this is the reach I've pulled, but I'm saying he's anti-vax for weird paranoid reasons.
He's like, who got the jab, Pigmon? Look what happened to him.
He got squished. Now, you may think that has no relation to getting a vaccine, but
I guess we'll see how cursed he is when he returns.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious to see as we get more iterations of the same idea. Because I'm assuming there's always going to be the human team equivalent to these shows. I mean, we've seen it even in like up through Blazer. We know this. I'm curious to see if any of them takes a more, I don't want to say adversarial, but like a more critical approach to, oh yeah, like the advances of science are going to save humanity and you just need to believe in it, sort of thing or whatever. And maybe just takes a little bit more of a cynical, grounded take.
Yeah. I mean, for context, this is like the 60s.
Yeah. No, this is peak. This is peak time to be like our heroes are the science patrol. Yeah.
France is absolutely popping off with just the most bizarre futurist shit in the world right now.
The guy in the final episode of Alt Q with the pan-dimensional tram, he actually just got isekai to Ultraseven France.
Yes. it's yeah.
I mean, this is even like lead up to like we're talking about going to the moon, baby shit too. So it's just everywhere.
Yeah. It's tying the bit that I was like, okay, this is obviously I don't agree that science is just it's like the advancement of technology is an inherent good, but I do think it's like a choice that makes sense within this show, absolutely, with like tying into like the whole NASA stuff, like just like the Ultraseven, the Ultra Guard doing space exploration stuff. It's very much like, well, yes, you believe this, and hearing them like talk out loud the connection between the spacefaring technology and just
I just had
your doctor being able to save you from previously incurable stuff is Yeah, interesting.
I just had the most galaxy fucking brain idea for a crossover ever. It's this
Uh-oh.
episode, but then the kid goes in for the surgery. It's Shocker. He becomes the first Kamen Rider.
No.
Then he goes, "Why did you tell me this, Dan?"
Oh, the ideological opposition between Ultraseven, who believes in the science of humanity, and Kamen Rider.
He's like, you know who's good at science?
His cyborg body.
You know who was good at science? The fucking Nazis. Look what they did.
The Nazis that are still around in the 70s in our government. Subtext.
So, in terms of production, this was directed by Toshihiro Iijima, which spoilers, the next 2 episodes also directed by Toshihiro Iijima, and are the only 3 episodes that he seemed to have directed for Ultraseven. And we're not going to hear from him until he directs Ultraman Cosmos: The First Contact in 2001. So bye-bye, Iijima.
Wow.
Holy fuck.
See you in a few years, man.
Yeah, just a recap, he directed in Ultra Q SOS Mount Fuji,
Right.
The Underground Super Express Goes West, The Rainbow's Egg, and Challenge from the Year 2020. Okay, he was cooking.
That one, yeah. Good that time.
Ultraman, Shoot the Invaders, that's the Bolton episode for anyone wondering.
Yeah, one of the best episodes of Ultraman. One of the most evil and also incredible.
What were you saying, Mel?
Ultraman did shoot the invaders.
He did shoot the invaders. Episode 3, Science Patrol Move Out. Episode 5, Secret of the... this says Miloganda. I think it's Miroganda in the translation we had. Science Patrol Into Space. Passport to Infinity, great episode.
Oh, fantastic.
Undersea Science Center, also fantastic. And Mystery Comet Suifan. And, you know, honestly, between the conversation we just had and looking at the episode, like, he is dealing a lot with, like, this more sciencey stuff when it comes up. Because, like, that episode with the Science Center is obviously about, like, you know, like, the aquatic research stuff. Passport to Infinity is about, like, playing around with, like, weird distortions and, you know, space and all that stuff. Like, all of his stuff seems to have a very... I mean, even going back to his Ultra Q stuff, like, fucking Underground Super Express Goes West is about, like, an innovative train. Like, he's playing around a lot with the science fiction angle. So, yeah, that makes sense.
The Thunderbirds train.
And then this was...
that. I believe that episode was the beginning of the Thunderbirds arc, where I started to explain what Thunderbirds was.
Well, technically, it started with Shin Ultraman.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah. That was just me smiling and nodding with, like, half knowledge that, like, yeah, Thunderbirds is a thing.
They've ditched the Captain Scarlet transition this week in favor of, well, I mean, the next 2 episodes in favor of just doing like a horror sting every time.
The writer for Courageous Battle was Mamoru Sasaki. Not pairing up with his regular you know, friend Akio Jisoji, still away.
When will he be back from the war?
Yeah. Please come back, Jisoji. I really like the idea of Jisoji bursts down the door and he's like, okay, I've been watching TV. What the fuck are you guys doing?
It's gotta be. We've only got like 3 weeks left of Ultra 7.
Oh god, yeah.
Soon.
I could probably find out the answer if I flip the page on this book, but it's more fun if I don't do that, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do we have anything more to say about this episode?
I thought this was a fun old time.
Was. It was a fun old time.
I simply think if I wanted to extract oil from a car, I wouldn't put it into a giant compactor robot. I feel like there are more efficient ways, but you know what? More power to you, alien bandas.
But then they wouldn't have an excuse to make a really funny robot.
See, I like to think that they came up with the robot idea first and the excuse later. They're like, well, I guess we could.
So why do we need a robot that eats cars? Oil, I guess. That's that works. All right. Well, main event this week maybe. A two-parter. Episode 39 and 40, which is the Ultraseven assassination plot or something?
Yes.
Yeah, the 7 assassination plan, part 1 and part 2 is what I have in the book.
Alien guts have analyzed.
I think you'll find it's called Alien Gatsu.
Yes! I'm happy you made the joke. I was gonna make the joke. Same brain.
I was like, someone's gonna. Alien Guts have analyzed all of Ultraseven's abilities and have devised a foolproof plan to defeat him. And they will do so on their honor as the undefeated Alien Guts. They've never lost a battle. The Ultra Guard are getting called out on prank calls, but as soon as Dan heads out to check one, he is ambushed by Alien Guts. After a brief scramble involving the Capsule Kaiju Wyndham getting murked, I don't know if Wyndham's just gone now. Alien Guts turns Kaiju, and Dan considers transforming, but is wary. The Guts are clearly after him. They didn't attack any of the other patrols that got sent out to check on these prank calls.
And they didn't attack Anne when she was out, and Dan's like, hey, go back to the base, and then she runs back to be by his side like 3 times in a row, and he's like, no, go back. What are you doing?
Yeah, she's determined to help this episode. It kind of forgets next episode that she's determined to help Dan. So the Guts are clearly after him, so it might be a trap. So he doesn't transform. Luckily, he and Dan are rescued by the Ultra Hawk. It swoops down and picks up the car while they're in it, which is pretty good. Alien Guts has more in store, though, including a sure way to lure out Ultraseven. When Soga and Dan are out tracking a Guts UFO, the UFO attacks Soga. Dan almost transforms again, but instead, he's like, this might be a trap again. And calls for help and goes to drive over a bridge. But Guts' plan was not, we're going to attack your friend and you're gonna transform. It was, we're going to wait until he's crossing a bridge and then we're going to collapse the bridge and then he's going to have to transform or he'll die. And so they collapse the bridge, and he nothing for it. Only one way to survive. Dan transforms. Unfortunately, Alien Guts was not bluffing. They fucking own Ultraseven and trap him in a glass case crucifix with like little holes for his face and hands, and announce that Ultraseven will be executed at dawn. And crowds watch, like they look at as the sun sets on Ultraseven crucified. The Ultra Guard wonder what they can do. They intercept a signal from Ultraseven requesting magnesium be beamed into his brain so he can start moving again. But for that, they'll need a special gem that is only found in Africa. So, at the very start of this two-parter, Furuhashi received half of an African gem from his secret racer GF called Natsu. Anyway, this is the gem they need, but it's not enough. They need the other half, which Natsu kept. She gets attacked by Alien Guts, and like the pendant she's wearing around her neck is stolen. But that was a fake because she doesn't want the real thing to break while she's out racing. She gives the real thing to the Ultra Guard, and they're ready for the operation. The first time they try to revive Ultraseven, it turns out he's an illusion, but Furuhashi and Natsu find the real Ultraseven, and a new operation is launched. Soga hits the headlight with the magnesium beam, and Ultraseven is revived. The OP drops, and Ultraseven breaks out of the crucifix and defeats Alien Guts. He destroys their spaceship too, and Dan wakes up in a field of grass as the Ultra Guard push him around for lols. The end. So, we got the crucifix.
We did.
Yes.
Now, does this
we
help
did
or
not-
hinder this show's chances of having the crucifixion scene that we're thinking of?
I don't know, because it's not the same thing. It is absolutely not the image in my head, which is much more like the bit from Xenogears that we saw
Yeah.
last week. Um,
I'm gonna say no.
It's gotta be.
I'm gonna say no.
I-
I don't think we're gonna get it till somewhere in the 90s. I feel like that's a 90s thing to happen.
My money's on the end of this season.
Okay.
I have faith. The Catholic faith.
Do you swear on the cross, Red, that the crucifixion happens this season?
Oh fuck. Yeah, so this feels like probably an iconic episode of Ultra 7. Or two episodes of Ultra 7. They're alright.
Yeah.
I don't think they're as good as the other two episodes we watched this week.
I agree.
But I did pop for the crucifix. I was like,
me too.
It was good.
I was like baby seal going, like clapping. Hey, there it is. Hell yeah.
The whole time, especially the second episode actually watching this, I was like, I feel like whoever made this episode didn't get the memo that we're on Ultra 7 now, not Ultraman. This felt very Ultraman. Just everything about this.
It does feel quite Ultraman, now that I think about it. I think the first episode is much better than the second. I think the first episode is
Same.
fantastic.
I think it's a case where they set up the stakes, and the second episode is where they have to resolve things and go, how do we do that?
Yeah, it's like the same.
Yeah.
It's like the same problem as was it Ultra Guard Goes West, where we like the first one a lot more than the second.
That was for that was for partially ideological reasons of like they had clearly set up this episode where a plot, like an extremely normal television plot where we had to navigate the fact that we didn't, there was going to be a tragedy because neither side could trust each other. And instead, they didn't do that. They just did.
The aliens were
evil,
sickos, and we have to kill them. Yeah.
Which was a letdown.
Whereas this one,
I-
the second one, just feels of a lower quality. Just like
yes,
in terms of just everything. Like I do like the character stuff, like especially with like the racer girl and like the pendant. I think all that stuff is fun, but like I just that bit where the first Ultra 7 that was crucified was an illusion made
and
me
it's like, oh, we just found him again.
yeah.
Is it, what was the point?
Filling time, if I had to suspect.
Needed an extra like 127s of 20 seconds of episode.
Yeah.
127s. Holy shit, that's a plot for the second episode. There you go. Have that one for free. Were you saying something, Mel?
I like the mini UFO that's like a magnet.
Oh, it's extremely good.
The magnet. So here's the thing. Everything about Guts, incredible. Like the opening of the first episode of them like going through Ultra 7's abilities and then being like, yeah, we fucking got him.
Yeah, they
it's
fucking.
like, hell yeah.
We didn't talk about it, but there's like the first episode opens with like a sepia footage reel of like they sent a decoy kaiju to fight Ultra 7 to test his abilities.
Yeah. Apparently multiple times because he keeps wrecking it. Yeah, they come up with the plan, and then they have like the glass case crucifix, but they also have the magnet UFO that when I mentioned in the summary that it attacks Soga, I didn't describe exactly what happened, which is hilarious, which is he gets like magneted to the UFO, and then it rolls down a hill. And so he's just like rolling, going, Dan, help. And Dan's like, Oh, this feels like a trap.
Uh,
Fantastic.
it's interesting that the alien guts has a lot of glass aesthetics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I read that apparently it was originally the aliens were called Alien Saruga, which is like Gorasu backwards. So maybe that's
Oh, that works. The actual design on the aliens is pretty fun.
Yeah, they're like weird bird people.
Yeah, there's like a genuinely like pretty good scare when they're hunting down Natsu, because they can kind of like disappear and reappear wherever at will, and so they're really fucking with her, and just like appearing behind her, nothing personnel kid, etc. It's some good shit.
And then they find her, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I have the real one at home. It's all good."
Yeah, it's fine actually.
And then
It's
for she talks to the camera. It's just
yeah.
Stupid alien guts. I mean, I didn't say anything. Bye.
Yeah, he like yells about how dumb Alien Gus is, and then to the camera, and then shushes himself. Furuhashi. Furuhashi does well these episodes. He's he had a secret GF the whole time.
I do
He
feel
didn't need
whenever
Dan's Riz.
Yeah, it's true. I do feel weird whenever they talk about Africa because that's what that
So,
does.
Yeah.
They talk about Africa again. The weirdest bit of it is absolutely the moment where, because he's talking about like, oh yeah, they got the gem from Africa, but then like in the second part where they're like, oh, we need that gem from Africa, and Anne and Soga are like, oh, Furuhashi. And he's like, what do I have to do with Africa? I know my face looks like, and then gets interrupted. And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, that's the moment I was thinking of too, where it's like,
Good.
What are you going to say? Finish that sentence. Fucked up. It's a little fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
So is
great.
Wyndham.
Wyndham got fucked up.
Yeah.
Wyndham's dead, maybe.
Wyndham got headshot.
Fucking own. Maybe it might be the case that Wyndham does not come back. Rip Wyndham.
I would respect it a lot if Wyndham's just fucking dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we never see him get withdrawn. You just see like the flames consume.
Yeah, Dan like attempts to withdraw him, and then he gets shot before that or something. So I guess he is just fucking done, probably.
Yeah. Apparently
providing
Nicholas
that
was
not
going to be in
count.
this episode originally, but became Wyndham instead.
I'm happy he took one for my boy.
Your favorite of the three?
Yeah.
I wonder if the third one will ever show up again.
See, that's
I
my
wonder.
favorite thing is these monsters show up so little, and now one is presumably dead.
When you're the most powerful being in the show, you don't usually need the capsule kaiju, is the thing that we've learned.
Yeah. You got the ice
You're
slugger.
usually fine. Yeah. So we haven't really talked about Ultra Seven's abilities that much. The Ice Slugger definitely the best part of Ultra Seven's kit compared to Ultraman.
Yeah, I was getting real sick of the Spacium Beam stuff by the time we wrapped that show. But
Just think-
cutting things up,
Just thinking
always a good time.
Just thinking of Raz and 7, 8 crazy nights at it.
What do you mean? That was a me. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, yeah, I was right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
Me.
We don't know who has access to the account.
It's all three of us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, when Gmail cooperates.
You were saying about the Ice Slugger?
I was saying, it has like, I was like pro Ice Slugger initially. I was like, yeah, the Ice Slugger is good, and I liked that the beam came from his head. But I definitely gained new appreciation for how cool the Ice Slugger was when one, it was decapitating things every week, and two, that one time he just grabbed it off his head and slashed that nuclear irradiated kaiju's throat with it in like a struggle. That was genuinely probably the coolest kill in the show.
I like how for this one he like holds the ice slugger in place and like does a venom ball set from Guilty Gear and then just fires a beam at it.
Yeah.
To launch it.
That reminds me, and I feel remiss because I've not looked it up, but remember when I did production history forever ago in Ultraman, and I was like, oh yeah, there was a disagreement involving one of the creators and an ending of an Ultra 7 episode. Apparently that was Super Weapon R1.
Oh.
And I believe it was Bunzo Wakatsuki wrote something like, I think it was like whatever the narrator says at the end of that episode. There was a producer that was like, we can't put that in like a kid show. And he was like, fuck you, I'm doing it anyways. And he like had to fight really hard to get it. But I don't remember what exactly like that sentiment was right at the end.
Whatever it was, we liked it at the time, I think. We were very high on that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny the color timer for 7, or the beam lamp, I guess it's called.
Yeah.
Basically only matters for this episode.
So it's like whenever he's cold and also this episode. That's it.
I guess Alien Pole did give him a color timer. It just doesn't matter most of the time.
Alien Pole should have shown up in this episode and like high-fived Guts when they crucified Ultra 7.
All the different shots of the crucifixion are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except for the one where he's just like on the side of the mountain and he looks pretty goofy.
Also, curiously, so I decided to look just to figure it out, but apparently I don't even think it was anything. There was no narrator at the end of that episode. It was just the conversation about the marathon and the why the arms race is bad.
Oh, shut up, producer. You're wrong.
Yeah. Actually.
Anyway, yeah, the like as I think we've been pretty thorough about it. The second episode's most like biggest problem is just it's just kind of sloppy. It's just like kind of hastily put together, and
I would describe it as obligatory, you know?
Yes, they had to make a second episode to wrap it up, and they were like, let's, wrap it up as best we can. And they have the whole thing with like the gem, oh, we need the two halves of the gem, and it's already feeling a little bit like, oh, really? Why? And then it's like, oh, that's not the real Ultra 7. The real Ultra 7 is over here, and Furuhashi finds him, and I'm like, this seems. I would have put plot in this episode. I would have put like a story. You remember when Anne's whole deal in the first episode was why Dan is just as important as Ultra 7. We have to save Dan. And that just vanishes. That's just dropped completely.
Also, for like a two-parter about how these aliens want to crush the human spirit, not a lot of actual insight into how humanity as a whole views Ultra 7 and how they feel when he is imperiled.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt very incomplete from an emotional perspective, I feel, as well.
It's just like, oh yeah, it's a given that 7 is like everyone loves him.
Yeah.
Not like, Blazer.
So this was directed again by Toshihiro Iijima, like I stated, but then also this was written by known Macross hater Keisuke Fujikawa.
Thank you, known Macross hater Keisuke.
Just run by the other episodes he's done again.
Fujikawa's other episodes, I'd have to pull up my doc for that, but also the other stuff he's done this season, or this show, would be Glory for Whom, which is the Aoki episode, Operation Cyborg, with their good friend Alien Borg.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, we also have... I know he's done at least one other. Yes, The Eyes That Shine in the Darkness, with the kid and the weird rock who keeps telling him to be evil. And then I believe that is it. Yeah.
Okay.
right.
I actually have the Ultopia blog. Apparently had like there's a book called the Ultraseven Research Book, and there was an interview with like the director and writer. So I have some background info of this episode and its
Ooh.
plotting. Apparently, excuse me. Apparently, Ejima was brought on specifically for these episodes by TBS producer Toshimichi Miwa, and basically told me like, the ratings are down. Can we get something more like Ultraman? That's exciting
Oh,
to like get the audiences.
well, that makes sense.
So we were on the money.
Yeah. Okay, I feel good about that one then.
Apparently, Ejima this entire time was similar to Jisoji in Kyoto doing period piece movies.
Okay.
And so he was sort of like, well, he used to sort of like thinking, well, oh, I'll do like a samurai movie where there's like a desperate situation and the hero breaks out of it somehow. Though apparently, like the original idea of like a desperate situation was pitched by Fujikawa.
Okay.
Yeah, although Ejima,
Oh, go ahead.
well, Ejima also had like a sixth sense that like, I bet I'm the Bolton guy, so I bet Miwa wants a Bolton like alien.
Mm-hmm.
The first actually
Yeah.
talking to the screen was unscripted, but Ejima was like, put it in.
Oh, hell yeah.
He also was like, well, I don't. It would be a bad luck if I made an Ultra 7 episode that was just an Ultraman episode. So he tried to at least, maybe I guess, try harder. I don't know if it was also a Fujikawa thing, but like, but he did like deliberately be like, okay, I'm gonna put a capsule kaiju in the show because it's part of Ultra 7, and also nobody else is using them. What the fuck?
That's funny.
Apparently, there was a sentiment that like, what's the point? A lot of the people I think on the side were having a similar conclusion, I guess we did, where it's like, well, it's kind of lame if we just send out the capsule kaiju and they just get owned, so maybe we shouldn't bother using them.
Mm-hmm.
Originally they wanted one episode, but then like, well, there's an opportunity to have a two-parter because 7 gets owned.
You know what? I can tell they originally only wanted one episode.
Yeah.
Apparently Fujikawa during this period was like overworked and doing a lot of just like writing a lot, but still he like had a policy of meeting everyone because he felt like it's kind of arrogant to just be like, oh, I'm too busy to meet with you, because he felt like that was something a lot of people were doing at the time. But he also like had a lot of deadlines and was extremely stressed and rushed writing scripts to meet deadline, including this one. Apparently, like, I guess Tetsuo Kinjo, I guess, was probably the head writer because writers would submit scripts to Kinjo, and Kinjo had a policy of being like, you gotta write 2 episodes and I'll reject one, basically.
That's a bad system.
It is kind of fucked up.
Brutal.
I don't know if it's like full episodes or just premises, but he's just like,
yeah, like if it's a treatment, I guess I can understand that more. But if it's like full script, that's fucked.
Yeah, though he did say that like Kinjo also had a policy of like paying them for the rejected scripts as well as the one that actually got accepted.
You know what?
Right.
I bet that's falling in line with the like write the episode 2 under a pseudonym thing. I bet that was just a straight up like, we want to make sure people are getting paid good.
Yeah. Fujikawa says that he always wanted to do like an authentic kaiju episode, and so one of his scripts would always be a conventional kaiju episode and one would be a weird one, and then all of his conventional ones get rejected, so he kept having to do weird ones.
That's hilarious.
I think I saw that like he also did Green Mons and Bolton in Ultraman. That was like Escape to Infinity and Curse of the Miraganda.
Miraganda underrated.
He also has an anecdote where fellow writer Masahiro Yamada would just be like, I'm only submitting one script because this is the best I can do. This is my best work. Take it. And then Fujikawa was like, you know what? Maybe I should have done that. Um, he felt like, okay, fine, I get to do an authentic kaiju episode with the alien guts. And then he was kind of disappointed when he was told they were birds.
Damn.
But then he warmed up to them when he saw the actual design.
That's a good design.
Yeah, I like these guys.
Also, I call out here. If Masahiro Yamada's like, yeah, only my best work that I was capable of made it in. I don't know why the Strolling Planet happened.
I'm just assuming he didn't want to write 2 scripts.
Yeah.
Fujikawa apparently wrote himself into corner on how to actually save 7 this episode.
I can tell.
And then Ichiro was just like, use a MacGuffin stuff since you used those in the Green Ones and Bolton episodes.
This is the funniest conversation we've had about episodes so far. We've just kind of gone like, this just seems really like haphazard, and then we get all the production details of like everyone working on it, going, this seems pretty haphazard.
Just aside, apparently Fujikawa was the one who came up with the name Eye Slugger.
Okay.
I would like to know what
grew
he
on
means.
me. At first I thought Eye Slugger sounded really stupid. I kind of like it now. It scratches my brain in just the right way.
Yeah, the origin, I guess, comes from like Ultraseven originally be called Ultra Eye, which is now his device. But also he just thought the word slugger was cool because he was into baseball, I guess. Because he's Japanese.
Yeah.
Apparently when watching the episode, he was like shocked seeing like Wyndham get murked and 7 crucified, and he was just kind of telling himself jokingly, "Oh no, what have I brought into this world?" That's the notes I got, so I'll link that in the description.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to know we were right about everything.
Yeah. That felt very vindicating. My imposter syndrome is now delayed again by 2 weeks.
Well, do we have anything more to say about these 2 episodes?
No.
I'm still team. We're getting the full scene. We're getting the full crucifix scene.
I guess we'll see.
I might be clinging to false hope, but I'm clinging to it nonetheless.
See, I feel like my shifting thoughts on this are that because they did a glass one this time, for whatever reason in my brain, I'm like they're reluctant to do like an actual crucifixion with like even with like chains or anything like that, if they're doing it like a glass case thing. Then also too, I feel like when we hit the 90s, we're gonna start getting weird crossover shit. And I do like there's like that's a whole bunch of Ultra guys crucified in that photo. And I feel like we just might not be there yet.
We might not be. We will see.
Unless they introduce weird Ultra dudes. If Ultra 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 show up, I will feel vindicated.
Ultra 1! Holy shit!
But it would be funny if they introduced
They're going to do the full Thunderbirds countdown from 7.
It would be very funny if they introduce other Ultra people just so that they can get captured and crucified and have it be a big thing. But we'll have to see.
Ultraseven's 6 shitty older brothers.
It will be also really weird, may I say, if for whatever reason it's not in this show. We were so adamant that that was in Ultra 7, and I don't know why we had that idea.
I think that was just you.
Oh, I thought it was
me.
Okay, I knew it was at least me and Red.
I don't know why, but I was absolutely certain that was an Ultra 7 thing. I had felt like I had been spoiled that was going to happen in Ultra 7.
Yeah.
If it hasn't happened in Ultra 7, then I guess I'm pleased I haven't been spoiled. But also, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know how this happened.
Why did I think this?
I don't know how this happened to us.
We will see.
Yeah.
All right, well, in which case, I think that's a podcast. I think we're done.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're not.
No.
First and
Oh.
first.
Capsule Kaiju.
Capsule. 1 minute and 6 seconds.
1 minute, 6 seconds.
Rest
and
in
then
peace.
Death. Rest in peace.
Drawing the cross on the chest. Also, we got an email.
Ooh.
Ooh, email. Shoot.
Subject Star is back again.
Welcome back.
They apologize about lack of synopses on the wiki again. Retro
I was a little surprised that there was no synopses for these 2 episodes, but it's okay. I understand now. Now that I've heard that most of them go into the kaiju stuff, there's for some reason in my brain that makes sense these days. I'm like, I get that why that happens, because you want, the actual articles for the pages for the episodes versus pages for kaiju that might show up again, and wanting to have that history in of the kaiju in one place. I think I get it.
Yeah.
I still think there could be maybe I could rewrite some of my. No, I'm not doing that. I don't know why I'm promised. I would suggest that I might put in that effort. Never mind. I'm sorry.
He does say you can pass on your summaries to him, and he can just get it cleaned up for the wiki.
Oh no. We'll see.
There's something in here where I tied a conversation with him on Discord about unaired episode, but I'll talk about that one as relevant.
Mm-hmm.
There's also something substantial he says to pass over in the email. Preempting spoilers for Return to Ultraman. Okay. The show was the first one to feature eye catches and an ED. Or no, not an ED. Next episode preview.
Okay.
It also says that there's certain episodes in the first bit where do not look at the title because of spoilers.
So with the certain Return of Ultraman episodes, just don't look at the title?
In the first, I guess third of the show, there's 1 or 2 episodes where it's the premise of this episode is a cool surprise.
That will be hard with the Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I might be fine.
Yeah.
I will say, in it coming up soon, I might try and be more proactive in hiding you both from spoilers. Which is say,
okay.
Which is say maybe certain episodes where I'll be don't look at the booklet for this summary, or I will give you these subtitles because I disagree with the official ones.
Oh, I won't have that problem.
Yes, you will.
Will I? Oh, fuck.
So yes,
I'll
right. Be taking precautions because I know things about the next coming stretch of Showa seasons. So,
thank you for your effort. I do appreciate the protection.
Also, it's funnier this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then last thing is that the Ultra Fight playlist is looking good, and he'll send it over as soon as he can.
Okay, sick.
We got 3 weeks, so hey.
3 weeks. Nice.
More than enough to kill anything that moves.
Ultraman has entered the call.
Ultraman and Revolver Ocelot. I don't think they'd get along, actually, but I think they'd have some interesting conversations.
Ocelot and Soga, though.
Oh, 100 best buds. They would be good friends, but the pistol would get between them.
Yes.
And Revolver Ocelot
This is not a metaphor for anything.
No. The Revolver Ocelot will say, well, you see, here's your problem. You're using a pistol. The way you fire, you really need a revolver. Then he carries on the tradition.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for your email, Cider. If you want to follow the show, plugs, you can do so at Twitter at Ultra_Q. That is at Ultra_QUEUE. I am also on Twitter at gender_redacted. Mel.
You know where to find me, do crowns, all that. There's our podcast email, ultraqpod@gmail.com. And then there's ultraq fund, that's coffee. Razen.
It's me. You can find me at Rasenbran. That's RASENBRAN. I'm on YouTube, co-host, Blue Sky, Twitter. I'm just hanging out. I'm just having a good time. Go participate in Backlog Bingo 2024. Everyone seems to be having a good time. Everyone wants to beat Dragon's Dogma, is what I've learned.
I do. I put it on hold when Final Fantasy 16 came out. That was a huge mistake. Final Fantasy 16 sucked. And then I played Armored Core, I need to get back to Dragon Dogma.
I do too.
Knight is the coolest class in any video game I've ever put. What a fucking shield match.
I'm quite partial to Magic Archer myself.
I have heard that Magic Archer is also the shit. I will need to be trying that out. But for now, I'm just like the thing where like using shield magic to set up like a barrier and then setting up a sigil to like you hit it and it triggers shots. And what winds up like juggling goblins without pressing a button as they bounce between the barrier and get shot by the sigil. Amazing. What a fucking video game. I need to get back to Dragon's Dogma immediately. All right. That's the end of the episode. Sorry for ranting about Dragon's Dogma right at the end there. But I rolled more dice than was necessary to decide what I was going to play next. And I got Dogma and was like, hell fucking yeah, let's go. All right. Join us next week for 3 more episodes of Ultraseven. That is 41, 42, 43, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 49 episodes of this show, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We are back to 3 until the end.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, there's a 1 in 3 chance we've got Jisoji back next week. So
we know for sure Jisoji's coming back, right? This isn't another thing that we were like sure of, but we're not actually sure.
He's coming back.
Jisoji's coming back.
Okay.
He's doing the fixes.
It would be really sad if he didn't and we were just wrong.
Yeah. We might do some other stuff within the last episode too, depending on things.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that later.
All right.
We'll talk about that later. All right. Bye for now. See you next week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Later, everyone.
Attack the homicide fighter 7. Ultraseven. Let's go. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.